Hello and welcome to this year's marathon process for the Title II Part A program. This presentation will discuss the selected Title II Part A requirement. We will go over the documents that the LEA will need in order to participate in this process, as well as the items that TEA staff will review. Before we begin, we would like to point out documenting overall compliance for a program requirement may require several forms of documentation to be maintained locally and available upon request by TEA and/or an auditor. To ensure overall compliance with program requirements, LEAs should refer to the program guide and/or other program-related resources that reference the multiple forms of documentation required to be maintained locally. To ensure overall compliance with program requirements, LEAs should refer to the program guide and/or other program-related resources that reference the multiple forms of documentation required to be maintained locally. The Title II Part A statute requires the LEA to meaningfully consult with teachers, principals, other school leaders, paraprofessionals, including organizations representing such individuals, specialized instruction and support personnel, charter school leaders, in an LEA that has charter schools, parents, community partners, and other organizations or partners with relevant and demonstrated expertise in programs and activities designed to meet the purpose of Title II Part A. The documentation required for Item 1.1 are the relevant pages of the District Improvement Plan. These include title page of the District Improvement Plan, and only those pages of the plan that relate to the consultation. The process reference and the documentation should include a listing of stakeholders involved in the consultation process. The list should include individuals by name and stakeholder group role that each individual represents. This might be narrative sections where the LEA has described its planning and consultation process. Please do not submit the entire plan. The term meaningful consultation refers to a genuine opportunity to participate and provide input into planning and decisions concerning the program. Issues that may result in an improvement in status include the following. Auditable documentation requested was not submitted. Documentation submitted does not reference the consultation process. Next, documentation required for item 1.2 is documentation of a meeting agenda. One meeting agenda is required to be submitted. The agenda should provide evidence of meaningful consultation with the required stakeholders in the development of the Title II Part A program. It should be clear from the agendas that the stakeholders had a genuine opportunity to participate in the planning and decision-making process. Documentation should align with the documented process referenced in the documentation submitted for item 1.1. Required stakeholders are defined by Title II statute as teachers, principals, other school leaders, paraprofessionals, specialized instructional support personnel, charter school leaders if the LEA has charter schools, parents, community partners, and others with relevant and demonstrated expertise. Please note, parents who fill the parent role on the committee may not be LEA employees. Issues that may result in an improvement in status for item 1.2 include the following. Item of documentation requested was not submitted. Documentation submitted does not reference the name and date of the meeting. Documentation submitted does not demonstrate representation of required stakeholder groups. The documentation required for item 1.3 is the related meeting minutes corresponding to item 1.2. Acceptable documentation include meeting notes, meeting minutes submitted for the meeting reference in item 1.2, should provide evidence of meaningful consultation with the required stakeholders in the development of Title II Part A program. It should be clear from the notes, minutes, that the stakeholders had a genuine opportunity to participate in the planning and decision-making process. Documentation should align with the documented list of stakeholders involved that are referenced in item 1.1. Issues that may result in improvement needed status include auditable documentation requested was not submitted, documentation submitted does not reference the name and date of the meeting, documentation submitted does not demonstrate the opportunity for participation in the planning and decision-making process. Next, the documentation required for item 1.4 is the related documentation of attendance for meeting reference in 1.2. Acceptable documentation include a sign-in sheet submitted for the meeting reference in item 1.2 should include the date, stakeholder names, roles, and signatures for the required stakeholders. Please note, if the meeting was held in a virtual environment, the LEA may substitute a participant roster in lieu of signatures. The date and roles of the participants must still be documented on the participant roster. Documentation should align with the documented list of stakeholders involved that are referenced in item 1.1. Issues that may result in an improvement needing status include auditable documentation requested was not submitted, documentation submitted does not reference the name and date of the meeting, documentation submitted does not demonstrate representation of the required stakeholders. Thank you so much for your time and attention. If you have any questions, please reach out to the contact information listed.